Thanks, Trey. Hi, how are y'all? It's so good to be back here in Texas. I actually grew up here. My mom's here today, so that's pretty awesome. I also just want thanks. Yeah, give it up for her. Also just want to say I'm so honored to be on this panel with these guys doing such innovative work in this space. It's so inspiring to see. So, as I said, my name's Rebecca Harris. I'm the co-founder at Purple. We're a conversational media platform, which I'll get to later what that means. And I'm a huge politics nerd, which I'll tell you a story about that later. It's important. Also, I figured the best way to for you to see what I'm talking about is for you to actually show you. So I created an interactive version of this presentation on Purple that you can follow if you just text ISOJ to that number. So looking forward to hearing your feedback on that after. So Purple really started out of a problem that my co-founder David and I really wanted to solve, and it's that. And today there's such an abundance of content out there that it's really a pain in the ass to stay informed on what's happening in the world, especially if you're not a political junkie or a news junkie. And so, this was the question that kept us up at night. It's like, well, what does that mean for the future of democracy if it's that time-consuming and difficult for people to stay informed? So, let me just tell you a quick story. As I said, I'm a huge politics nerd, and when I was in college, my friends knew this, so instead of actually reading the news themselves, they would just come to me and say, yo, Rebecca, can you just explain to me what the hell is happening in Syria? I don't have time to read about this crap. And I'd be like, awesome, someone to talk about Syria. Yes, I would love to. But David and I were thinking about this, and we were like, wow, why is that such a preferable way of digesting information? And we kind of broke it down. We were like, all right, well, first of all, it's completely frictionless. The abundance of content out there, it's overwhelming. Kind of feels like this sometimes when you're doing a Google search for a question or, searching through a news feed. It's just so much. But when it's a conversation, it's just you ask, I answer, and we just go back and forth. It's just so easy. The second component of it is that, I think my clicker stopped working, is that it's a two-way conversation. So at any time, if you can help me with that, if at any time, you want to stop me, want me to clarify something, you have another question, you can just ask, and we can go back and forth in that way. It's like how we actually talk to each other. And the really important part is that it's personal. I'm a human being that you can actually talk to, not a faceless source. And most of how we consume content right now is passively. And so this is really powerful. So. These are the components we built into Purple. We thought, well, okay, if we can't literally be there in person with you to talk about politics, what's the next best thing? Well, probably text messaging. It's the most common behavior all of us use with our phones already. So what we did is we built a service based off of that. It started out with a pretty simple Google Voice experiment, actually, where I was just texting updates on a Republican debate to 50 friends, and it sort of grew from there. We built our own system where we basically create these conversational pieces of content that are made to be digested through a conversation via text. So right now you get sort of atomized messages that have capitalized words that are keywords that you can text to get the next part of the story. Users can also text us questions or their thoughts on politics or whatever we're talking about, and we'll always answer. So this is a little bit of how that works. So it really dawned on us when we stumbled onto this, whoa, this is the future of media. I mean, and here's why I think this is the future. First of all, we kind of live our lives in this on-demand way, right? I can order an Uber to take me anywhere. I can order food at any time. I can get my dry cleaning picked up on my phone. And messaging kind of fits that lifestyle a little bit because you can carry on a conversation and learn about something in your own time, over the course of a day or a week or a month while you're doing a million other things. So that's pretty cool. And then, the other thing is that I am most excited about is it really breaks down the wall between publisher and audience for the first time in a really powerful way. I mean, you could argue that social media platforms sort of did that, but they're really not built for this kind of one-to-one engagement that is really a lot more engaging. And the last part is that, it's a conversation. It's personal. I mean, think about how we use text messaging and messaging in general now. It's, you text your friends, you send gifts to your colleagues on Slack. I mean, and it allows you to build these personal relationships with people. And that's really what excites me the most about this, because it allows us as an organization, as an entity, to engage with our users, with our audience, like we're friends. I mean, and people text us like we are besties. So it's pretty cool to see. So, it's no surprise that everyone's kind of flooding into this space as messaging applications are just kind of blowing up. They've far surpassed social media apps now in terms of monthly active users. These messaging applications now boast around 4.8 billion monthly active users. WhatsApp, 1 billion monthly active users. Facebook Messenger, 900 million. So there's so many. This is already, the most common behavior most people use on their phones. 6 out of the top 10 apps are messaging apps. But what kind of blows my mind is that it doesn't blow my mind. I understand why this is happening, but anytime there's a new sort of platform, a new frontier for media, we kind of all take to it with the mindset of the old platforms. So when the internet was first created, most news websites sort of resembled something like putting a PDF of the front page of the newspaper online. So this is the first New York Times webpage. But then once we really dug into the web and realized how you can utilize this platform and what the possibilities were, I mean, you see stuff more like this. I mean, it's just beautiful what you can do now. So much more engaging, so much more interactive. And I kind of think that's how a lot of people a lot of companies, businesses, brands, media organizations are looking at messaging now, is this sort of like this giant new distribution channel. And most people are sort of using it to send push notifications and links to articles, but I really think that's kind of missing the point. So here are my sort of my spiel on how to be successful on messaging platforms. Paul Graham from Y Combinator wrote this essay about building things that don't scale and sort of why it's important to start out that way. And one of the things he talks about is delight. So delighting your users. So this was the text we sent out the morning of April Fool's Day, telling people basically that Kanye just announced that he was running for president last minute. And this is such a simple thing, but made such a huge difference. People loved this. I mean, and the reason why this is important is, this is something that I would personally text to a friend and we would laugh about. And that's why it's important, because it gives you a voice, and it makes you more relatable and more personal and human to your users, which goes a long way in building that personal relationship with them. So I think focusing on delight, which Paul Graham says, you should always be constantly racking your brain for new ways to delight your users, is really important. The other thing, and this is kind of why a lot of people ask us, oh, are you an app? Or why didn't you guys build an app? And, we're kind of this is sort of our philosophy on this, is that I really think the key to success is going to where users are. And so we build Purple on top of existing messaging platforms, because we kind of want to be where you already live on your phone all the time. I just wanted to kind of close with this quote from Chris Messina's piece on Medium that I'm sure a lot of you have read, where he says, basically, by the end of the year, you and I will be talking with brands and companies on Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, Slack, and we will find it totally normal. And I think we're already starting to see that, and that's really exciting to me. So yeah, boom. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.